You can start now.
Yes, very good afternoon to all. And in today's session, like my name is Kishore first, and we are going in today's session we are going to look into some topics called as identification of hate content. Okay, identification of hate content. And first of all, let me share my screen. Yes. Once again, a greeting to you all, and on behalf of Manthan and AICT, I would glad to welcome you for this session. And in this today's session, we are going to look into some interesting problem statement called identification of hate content, and the number is INTL SA03. This is the problem statement number, and the topic is identification of hate content. Okay, and in what we are going to look in today's session. Okay, in today's session, we are going to start off with First of all, we are going to look into the introduction, like what is hate content and how the rise of social media and all those things. We'll be looking into that. Okay, and then fine. And then we are going to discuss some hate content, how hate contents are generated, what are hate contents, and why it is important to detect it earlier, or after detecting it, what we are gonna do. Okay, and what's the max behind it, like how the comments and the contents are being converted into in one form of representation in order to like give into a model and all those things. And we'll be looking in some flows. There are several methods in which you can analyze or analysis or find the hate content, but we are going to look into few, and then we are going to discuss we are going to complete it with the demo sessions. Okay, first of all, why there is a need for this problem statement. We need to understand why there is a need. Is this problem statement really in need, or why this problem statement is needed? So fine, we all know, like, there are billions and billions of people in today's world are using social media, including you, including me. Several of us are using, like, we spent most of the time in social media. So thanks to the computers, internet, and all those things. Okay, so it had made easier for us to connect with globally, and to each and everyone we can share informations in just in within a span of seconds. Okay, so while that is possible, what happens sometimes intentionally or without knowing, there is a possibility of we putting like some hate contents. What is hate content? We may think the content may be fine, but according to some group of people, or according to some with reference to some context, that content may be an hate content. Okay, so why people are looking into more on this hate content? Just ignore it and we can go. So it's not like that. Hate contents, like, if you are unknowingly, if you are commenting something which is an hate content, then we need to look in another angle. But if you are intentionally posting some hate contents, that should be like severely dealt with. That should be severely dealt with, and there are several rules, like cyber rules and all those things. Okay, fine. So in 56% of our total population, people use social media, wherein we have the freedom to speak, the freedom to post our thoughts, freedom to like share our comments and all those things. Okay, when this is possible, we need to have a control over of what we are passing and how we are passing. Let's say I am commenting about some issue, there may be some issue occurring, I'm commenting about some issue. That comment in order, it should not be a route way for another problem. Already already there is some problem going on. I am commenting regarding that problem, and your comment should not like pave a path for another problem. So these are the reasons. Okay, if like governments and all those things are trying to work on this in order to like make use of, like, detect this hate content, and then like block it, or whatever may be the next process. The first initial step is to identify the hate content. Okay, fine. the rising prevalences of hate speech on social media, as well as an urgent need of effective remedies. Okay, it should be like, what are all the remedies? It may be like a positive, it may be a negative, it may be like severe and whatever maybe, but there should be some remedies, or this problem should be looked into. Okay, has attracted major investment of government, business, and in researchers in recent year. Okay, fine. Then one of the interests, like the great variety of approaches of detecting automated hate speech has been created in the last few years. This has been relying like predominantly one of like few more of the research topics where identifying hate contents. There are several models, data has been generated. Okay, so this seeks the categorical textual information as either hate or not hate, non-hate. Okay, like our aim is to find if there is a statement, if there is a comment being processed, or if it's a comment being posted. Our ultimate aim is to find whether that comment is an hate comment or a non-hate comment, hate comment or a non-hate comment. So how do we approach this? So what is the approach we need to follow? Okay, yes, this is what I was telling about. Hate speech is defined as, this is somewhat like a textbook definition. Hate speech is defined as any communication that disparages or a person or a group of people or a group of particular characteristics, a group of people with a particular characteristics. So what are all they? So people talk about race, ethnicity, color, gender, sexual orientation, nationality, religion, and other characteristics, and these topics are on itself is a contradictory topics. Okay, where since there are variety of people, especially in India is a very diverse country. Okay, and when there are lots of religion, lots of ethnicity, and lots of race, color, and all those things being happening, some may tend to speak about some other group, and that may lead to some issues. Okay, that may lead to some issues. So this is a major aim of identifying this hate content. And not only this country related, religion related, or ethnicity related problems occur. Even sexual problems also occur when we consider as a group this color, ethnicity, nationality, all religion, and all these things comes. When we talk about personal things, sexual orientations and sexual related talks, maybe that may be considered, not considered, that are all hate contents which to be detected, and we need to process it with what we need to do next. Fine. So what is the method that we are going to follow on? This is a very simple approach. This is a very simple approach we are going to follow in order to find the hate content, on the social medias. Okay, we use several social medias, and social medias like Twitter, where each and everyone has the liberty to post their own comments. Okay, so what is the method that we are going to follow? The first is that we need to collect some data. We need to collect some labeled data to be even more precise, which means the data should be labeled as whether it is hate content or whether it is not hate content. And data are, as I said, since this is the area where several researchers are working on, data has been generated in a predominantly a good number of amount. So data would be available in some or the other form. So we need to collect those data and pre-process them. So what is pre-process them? So while commenting, just why I'm commenting, in sense we are talking about social media, whatever maybe the social media we take, we have the liberty to post a comment. Okay, whenever we comment, we will not comment in the pure English or pure your native language or any kind of thing. We always use some mixed language, and we always use some hashtags. We always try to mention someone, and all those things is being done. So in for a machine learning model, these hashtags, comments, okay, all these are like an unwanted data. Like you're commenting a person, if you are trying to pass that data to your model, and that data is not necessary, basically that is not necessary for your model. So we need to pre-process them or clean those data, which means removing exclamation marks, removing punctuation marks, removing hashtags, removing @ symbols, and all those things. Okay, we are, as I said, we are not, our aim is to not just to comment a pure English sentence. We will be having several other sentences along with it. So we our aim is to clean it, okay, pre-process it, okay. And there are several methods of pre-processing, bag of words, stop words, and all those things are there. We are going to look into them, and then we are going to pass in into a single model or an ensemble model, or in a pipeline, okay. So after we have collected data from some online sources, and our aim is to work with that model. So we are pre-processing that model, we are pre-processing that data, and then we are passing the data into some model, okay. In some model, as I mentioned, that model can be a single model, that model can be an ensemble, as well as that models can be in a pipeline. Fine. Then what is our aim? Then our aim is to identify. Directly we will go for identification of hate content. We then directly will go for identification of hate content. Fine. So let me talk about each and every step. Let me talk about each and every step quickly. Fine. First, let us start off with this first step: training and testing data. So what are all the methods we are going to handle, or what are all the what are all the process you have in order to collect the data set? For in today's session, I have just chosen a data set which is available online, and I am performing and I am analyzing that data for you. But we will be what is data? Data is that is something gets updated each and every time. So we need to be up to date with our data. So what we want to do, we need to look into some process, like web scraping or any kind of thing, in order to collect your own data. If you are going for data collection, you may consider data web scraping and all those things for data collection. And let's say if you are okay with the data which is available online, you need to collect all the possible data. The more number of data you have, the better your model will be, first. Then let me talk about pre-processing again. And all these words, okay, pre-processing. Now I'm going to introduce few other components inside this pre-processing, inside some other components inside this pre-processing. So first, we know what is pre-processing. We are making our data ready in order to pass into our model, okay. So now in this case, I would wish to give an example. If someone asks you to add two number, like if someone is asking you just add two numbers, so what you're going to do, you're going to add two numbers. Like you will be asking for the two numbers. Let's say the number is 5 and 5. What you will do, you will add a plus a is equal to 5, b is equal to 5, c is equal to a plus b, which is equal to, the output is 10. When the same person asks you to add two words, for example, add apple and orange. I'm not talking about Python strings, concatenation, and all those things. I'm just asking to add apple and orange. Will it be possible? No. We won't be able to add two words, which means numerical, that addition operation, numerically, it cannot be done for the words. So what we need to do, we need to change those categorical variables into numerical variables. Not not even a machine, not even a single mathematical formula will take an input as words, unless until it is an unknown variable or any kind of thing. You won't be able to pass in your words into your mathematical formula. Not only in mathematical formula, in the same way you come on to like machine learning. Machine learning is nothing but mathematics. Machine learning and deep learning are nothing but, at the back end you have mathematics only. For example, for instance, let's take linear regression. The mathematics behind it is y is equal to mx plus c. So I need to pass in numbers there, but I won't be able to pass in words like apple, orange, and all those things. I need to pass in pure numbers. So there are several methods, okay. So however, people are not going to comment. People are not going to comment numbers. They're going to comment words. Mostly, numbers would be included. I'm not saying numbers are never included in comments. Numbers would be included, and our aim is to convert those words. Mostly, they will be words. Those words into numbers. Why numbers? In order for me to pass into the model. So we are converting all the categorical datas into some form of numerical datas. So how this is possible? There are several methods. And one of the method is count vectorizer. Count vectorizer is the mathematics part. When we derive it, like, you will be understanding even more. But for time being, I've just defined it with an example. Count vectorizer is a method to convert text to numerical data. This is the thing which I was explaining for the past 1 minute. Count vectorizer is nothing but the method to convert text into numerical data. Here I have given an example. I've created a variable called text, and I'm assigning some data, some categorical data, which is hello, my name is James. This is my Python notebook. Hello, my name is James. This is my Python notebook. When I want to convert this into a numerical form, as I said, we are converting this into numerical form in order for my model to intake, in order to pass on this data to my model. So how it is going to be changed? Each and every word would be assigned with a number. For instance, hello is 1, S is 2, James is 1, my is 2, name is 1, notebook is 1, Python is 1, this is 1. Okay, like most of the numbers are 1, but is and my are 2. The numbers assigned, like the numbers associated with them, are 2. Why it is so? Because in this particular above sentence, hello, my name is James, this is Python. In this case, my is occurring twice. My and is alone occurring twice. See, the first my is after hello, and the second my is after is. Or before Python. So it's the count is 2. Similarly, let's take on for is. The one is after names, and one is after this. So this is vectorizer. There are several vectorizers. The one of the example which I'm showing you is this count vectorizer, which converts your string into a numerical, your textual data into your numerical data. Fine. So like we saw in a flow, wherein we took the data, we pre-processed the data, we add the raw textual data, and we done some pre-processing, like removing special characters, removing removing hashtags, removing mentioned comments, and all those things. Okay, after removing all these things, we had, and then the third step is also an pre-processing techniques, where we passed our data into something called as vectorizers, where it is going to do, it is going to convert your textual data into numerical data. Fine. Then this is not necessary, but you can still, in order to gain more accuracy, you can use these pipeline kind of things in order to boost up your accuracy. Okay, so there is something called as machine learning. I guess you know what's machine learning pipeline. Machine learning pipeline is nothing but sequentially apply a list of transformer and final estimators. Intermediate steps of pipeline must implement fit and transform method, and final estimator only needs to implement fit. Let's take, I'm going to consider several transformers. Like transformers means, like, even count vectorizer is one of the transformation techniques, right? So it's called as like transformers. It is transforming your textual data into a numerical data. So it's not that I need to use only one transformers. Let's say I'm supposed to. You may use 2 or more transformers. I use count vectorizer. You may use another vectorizer. Okay, there are several other vectorizers. You may use that. Fine. Then, so why we are going to like, it will be arranged in a sequential form. Like, it's how it is similar to ensemble techniques. But it's not exactly as in what ensemble techniques do. Fit and like pipeline is nothing but you will arrange transformers accordingly. And this is what they are trying. Intermediate steps of Python. Intermediate steps of pipeline must implement fit and transform, and the final estimator only needs to implement fit. So in this case, what we have done, we have just kept count vectorizer and another vectorizer at the first and second, and the last vectorizer is going to classify. The transformer is going to mainly meant for classification. Fine. Now let me show the data set first. Yeah. So this is the trained data set. Wherein you have three columns. The first column is the ID. It's like a kind of numbers. Uh, It basically represents the count. Okay. And labels. The label is your output column. Label is nothing but your output column. So what you're going to do with this label column, in the label column you will find whether that particular tweet is hate content tweet or not hate content tweet. Like, let's say this data set is from tweets. Okay. Yeah. And what is the comment? What is the actual comment? So let's analyze the first comment alone. I'm just taking this first comment. Okay. For what they are trying to tell, they are mentioning some art user. When father is dysfunctional, and so selfish, drags a kid into there is something. Okay, fine. User, you are welcome here. It's okay. Okay, and all these things. I get to see my daddy today. Hashtag 80 days, hashtag getting fed. Okay, all these things. Okay, there are several positive as well as there are hate. Okay, we will be able to understand. See, we will be able to understand once we read the comment. See, I'm just reading this comment. I get to see my daddy today. Okay, like hashtag 80 days, hashtag getting fed. So this is a very positive comment. So all the positive comments are assigned with the label 0, and all the hate contents are assigned with the value 1. Let's take this no comments. Okay, this no comments, hashtag Australia and all those things. Okay, fine. And retweet if you agree. Lumpy says I am poor in Lumpy. So there are several hate like contents that's available here. So this is the data which we are going to take for training. So now let us implement the coding. And let's know how the particular thing is working on first. Yeah. First of all, I have just uploaded the train dataset and the test dataset in the directory where I'm working on. So I'm using Google Colab in order for you to demonstrate. So I've done uploading this train.csv and test.csv file for you. Fine. Next, what I'm doing, I'm starting importing the necessary libraries. When I talk about necessary libraries, there are few necessary libraries I guess you should aware of. First library is Pandas, second is NumPy, third is Matplotlib, Seaborn, and RE. Okay, there are like 5 libraries which I'm mentioning, not only in this problem statement, maybe in other problem statement also. These are the major libraries that you may or may not be using. Pandas, NumPy, Seaborn, and Matplotlib. Okay, and import like OS, RE, and all the supplementary things. Fine. The notebook is connected. I'm running this cell. And next I'm loading the data set. How I'm loading the data set? I'm creating a variable called train. Wherein I'm assigning a value. PD, assigning a function which uploads the data set from the directory or from your system or from Google Drive. So this function pd.read_csv, I'm passing in this train.csv. Okay, so now this train is your variable wherein your data set is available. In what form it is available? It is in a form of data frame. We know what is a data frame is one of the data structures associated with pandas. Okay, then as how just now we loaded the train data set. In similar way, what I'm going to do, I'm going to load the test data set. Yes, done. Let me zoom in a bit so that it will be clear for you. Yeah, I've done uploading all these things. Next, what I'm going to do, I'm defining a function to return clean text. I'm returning a function in order to return clean text. So what are all the clean text? What do I mean by clean text? I'm going to consider my data and I'm going to remove all the special characters and all those things. So I'm defining a function. The function name is clean_text, and this function takes in 2 arguments. One is your entire data and one is your text field, which means which column or which text field you're going to work on this. Okay, and I'm assigning to we are applying this to the entire function using something called as apply function. Pandas has this very handy function called as apply function, wherein you can create a function and you apply that function to the entire data set or to a particular column or to a particular row using dot apply method. Okay, fine. And I'm just trying to remove all the unwanted extra letters, punctuation, and all those things. Fine. Yeah. Now I've cleaned it. Now, after running this piece of code, here I've just created the function, and here what I'm trying to do, I'm just calling the function and passing in the variables, passing in the data. So I'm creating a variable called test underscore clean, train underscore clean, and I'm passing the test data and the trained data, test data and the trained data, and the column, which column we are going to focus on, the tweets column. So when I'm just running this function, and after this I'm running this function, if you want me to if you want to know what is available in this test underscore clean, see test underscore clean, train underscore clean. If you just take any one example, all the other special characters like threat and all those things has been removed. Safe way to heal once and like all these things. Okay, thought factory lightning. Okay, feeling like Meredith. Okay, so all these things, happy to work conference, right mindset leads. Okay, and all these things, all the some special. If you have a look at this original data, if you want, I will print the original data for you. Test. When I print the original data for you, there are several symbols associated with them, but here you are cleaning the entire data. You are cleaning the entire data. Fine. And then importing resampling from sklearn library. So fine. So why this resampling is needed? Resampling is of two types. We'll let you know what are like down resample and up resample. There are two kinds of resampling. So what is the use of this resampling? Okay, this resampling is used when your data is unbalanced. So what do I mean by unbalanced data set? This is a very common topic in when we deal with machine learning. Well, let me open Paint and let me explain you. Fine. So let us understand that we have a model. Wherein our aim is to classify. Okay, just a minute. Consider this to be a model. Okay, so our aim is to pass in few data sets. So we will be passing data sets, right? Our data set will be in some form of a tabular form. We will be passing in data which will be in this form, in a CSV form or in an Excel form. The data will be in this form. Okay, let us consider we have a total 100 samples. Let us consider we have 100 data. Okay, next, and in among this 100 data, and let's consider this data set is of which tells the whether the particular patient is diabetic or not, any kind of thing, any kind of example. Okay, and or you may consider it to be an we are classifying it to between like orange and mango. Okay, whether it is orange or whether it is mango. Okay, so we have 100 total. When we had the total number of mangoes as well as total number of orange gives you 100 data set. Okay, and among this 100 data set, if the orange sample is more, let's say the orange sample is 90, let us consider this orange sample to be 90 and this mango sample to be 10 and this mango sample to be 10. And similar way, let's consider how many ever considerations we can, it will be possible for us to take. It will be possible for us to take. Okay, 90, 10, 90, 10, and we have, let us take, there are 60, 40. And this case is also possible, 20, 80. Or I'm just giving examples. I'm just giving examples. Fine. So when you consider these type of data, I've just, let us take another example, 50-50, and let us take another example, 50-50. So all these things, fine. All these things. This is 90 and 10. This 90 and 10, which 9. So when you pass this into your model, when you pass this into your model, what happens? Your model become more biased, which means your model has your model has more number. It has seen more number of orange compared to mango. Your model has learned more about orange when you compare it to mango. So even if you are passing a mango, even if you're passing a mango to your model, it is going to tell you that it is an, the output is going to be orange again. The output is going to be orange again because the data is very unbalanced. So these type of data, these type of data are considered to be unbalanced data set. These type of data are considered to be unbalanced data type. U means unbalanced. Okay, fine. And let's take this example also. 20 and 80. 20 and 80. Even this is also one of the example for unbalanced data. Here, in this case, what happened? Your model has learned more about mango. Your model has learned more about mango. And if you pass in an orange also, if you pass in an orange, your model is going to tell that is a mango. Even if you're passing an orange, your model is going to tell it is a mango because it has seen more samples for mangoes and compared with this orange. Then, and two things are completed, and we have at 60 and 40. Then we have 60 and 40, 60 and 40, and 50 and 50. So these are considered to be balanced data set. These are considered to be balanced data set. These are considered to be balanced data. So what do I mean by balanced data set? Balanced data wherein both the data are very balanced. Let's say this is a simple count plot. There are two categories in your data set. The two categories have same amount of data. When you have same amount of data, that is called as balanced. And similarly, you have something called as unbalanced data. If one particular sample is very high, one sample is very high and another sample is very low. Another sample is very low. So this is called as unbalanced. Okay. This is unbalanced data set. So why I am talking about this? Our aim is to identify whether it is an hate content or not. But why I am talking about this? Okay. So you need to make sure that your data set is balanced. You need to make sure that your data set is balanced. So what do I mean by data set is balanced? It should have not exactly equal, but it should approximately have equal number of samples. You should have hate contents as well as not hate content. It's not that I'm going to detect hate content, so I will learn, my model will be trained only on hate content. It's not the case. You will be training on both hate and non-hate content. So this data was when we initially saw, this was not a balanced data. It was an unbalanced data only. It was a unbalanced data only. So what we are done, we are going to do, we are going to balance it with the help of resample function. Okay, the piece of code which is highlighted here, this is going to perform this thing. It is going to balance the data set. How it is going to balance the data set? With two methods, downsampling and upsampling. But here we are using upsampling method because one of the data set, the unbalanced, like the hate content data set was very less, like we found only few hate contents. We are doubling them. We are doubling them to up to certain range, so that it gets multiplied and becomes the equal to the original data. It becomes the equal to the original data. So import resample all these things. Okay, like train major, train minor, all we need to pass all those things. Train underscore clean, train underscore dot labels dot zero, all these things, which basically the output of these snippet of code is nothing but it is going to give you a balanced data which is going to look like this. This is going to, which is going to look like this. What we have done, the count, the initially the count was like it will be only 5,000. Like I have 30,000 non-hate contents and only 5,000 like hate contents. So that time my model will predict very bad when I pass a new data from the future. So what I'm doing, I'm just doing upsampling. When I do upsampling, what happens, the data will be multiplied and the count will be more or less similar. The count of the data will be more or less similar. Fine. Then what I'm doing, I am importing several modules from sklearn library. The modules which I'm going to import now, the modules which I'm going to import now are nothing but, before that, let me draw a block diagram of the process. Let me draw a block diagram of a process. Let's say we have data. What kind of data? This is textual kind of data, text data. This is just text data. After this text data, what I'm going to do, I'm going to process it. Process it like internally. Internally, I'm going to process it. Consider it to be pre-processing. Okay, I am just pre-processing it by removing the extra alphabets, notations, and on all those things, special characters and all those things. After that, after this pre-processing, what you're going to do, you're going to again, this is one of the pre-processing techniques. You're going to transform it. You're going to transform. You're going to transform your data. You're going to transform your data. In this case, from what to what we transform from textual data to textual data to numerical data. After that, what we are going to do, we are going to create a model. We are going to create a model. Then comes model. After model, what we need to do, after model has been created, we will be able to test for the future. We will be able to test for the future sample. So with the help of this model, I'll be passing few inputs. And my model will now be able to tell me whether this is each and every one is hate content or non-hate content fine, non-hate content. So I stopped in this importing all the necessary libraries. Fine. So how do I import all the necessary libraries? From all these things are going to be taken from sklearn library, which is one of the famous machine learning library. From sklearn library, feature selection, like feature extraction family dot text import TF-ID vectorizer. The vectorizer which I basically gave an example was count vectorizer. Like similar to count vectorizer, there is another vectorizer called TF-ID vectorizer. I'm importing that. And same way from sklearn library, a family called pipeline. I'm importing a function called pipeline. And similarly, TF-ID vectorizer, count vectorizer, all these things are imported along with some SGD classifier. I'm using something called as SGD classifier here, stochastic gradient descent classifier, but you can use any other classifier model, and that depends upon your data. Fine. So I'm creating a pipeline too. What is the pipeline? Instead of passing one count, like instead of passing just one vectorizer, I am passing more than one or two vectorizer. I am passing more than one or two vectorizers. See, pipeline underscore std is equal to pipeline, that we are calling that function and passing in the transformers, the count vectorizer, the TF-ID transformers, and then SGD classifiers. Okay, SGD classifiers. Okay. I'm creating a pipeline. Pipeline is nothing but I'm creating an order telling my code that you should be executed first, you should be executed first, and finally this should be executed. I'm following that pattern. And train test split. And we know what is this train test split. Okay, importing library for splitting training and testing data. So why is this? Let's say we'll take the same example. When we take the same example, what happens? Let's imagine there are 100 data. And what we are going to do, we are going to use 70 data. We are going to use 70 data for training and 20 data for testing. 70 data for training and 20 data for testing. Fine. So this code is predominantly same in all machine learning problems, like from sklearn library, import from model selection family, import train underscore test underscore split. But in this case, it's like the input are like your tweets, and output are like your labels. Output are like your labels, X and Y, your independent and dependent feature. I'm passing my independent and dependent feature, and then I am training my model. I am fitting the entire model. This fit is the position where all the mathematics and backend happen, right? So I'm creating a model here. A model is equal to pipeline underscore stochastic gradient descent, pipeline underscore stochastic gradient descent, and fit train X train and Y train. Next, so after running this, what has happened? Your model is being created. Okay, let us run one by one. I just cleaned this data set and I'm importing all the libraries. Okay, this is for resampling, which is in order to tell you that this is not balanced. So now we are balanced them. I'm importing Seaborn and Matplotlib, and then importing this plot. This plot is nothing but initially it was an unbalanced data. After that piece of code, after writing that piece of code, we made it balanced. And importing all the necessary libraries from sklearn, and then creating a pipeline. SGD is nothing but we are taking count vectorizer, TF-ID vectorizer, as well as SGD classifier. When this run, a pipeline is being created. In the further cases, what we are going to do, we are going to use this pipeline thing as a model in order to work with our data. From sklearn.model selection, we are using train test split and model. I am predicting here. My model is equal to model underscore SGD dot fit X10 and Y10. Y predict is equal to model dot predict and X test. Model dot predict and X test. This shell has been run. If I print Y predict, when I print this Y predict for you, so the outputs are nothing but zeros. All the outputs are going to be like zeros and ones. So what do zeros means? They are not hate content. One means they are hate content. Okay. And this counterizer vectorizer will simply convert your text into your numerical number so that you will have the liberty to pass your data into a model. And now I'm checking my accuracy. Fine. So from sklearn.metrics, import F1 score. F1 score is nothing but actual data and predicted data. The residual related thing. We are passing the test data and the predicted data. Okay, predicted data and the actual data. And it tells the model gives you around 96% accuracy, and it tells your model gives 96% accuracy. Fine. So we are somewhat done. So yes, the major reason, now having been known, I have explained you each and every concept clear, each and every step in a similar manner. The flow is nothing but we need to follow only 6 major steps. The first step is nothing but read or upload your data. And after reading or uploading your data, if you required, do some pre-processing. If not, figure out what is your X value, what is your input values, and what is your output values. The first point is to read or upload your data, and the third and the fourth point is nothing but figure out what are all your input variables, features, or your independent variables, whatever you call, and then figure out what is your output, what is my x and what is my target, what is my output and all those. Figure out what is your x and y. After figuring out what is x and y, you need to go for training and test, train test split. Okay, we have that function, right? Train underscore test underscore split. You need to pass in that to your model. So that time what happens, your data will be splitted into training and testing, and after that you need to pass into to any model, be it a ensemble model or in a pipeline, whatever maybe. You'll be passing your data into a model. A model will be created. With the help of that model, you can predict or classify. In this case, my aim is to classify. Just have a look at this. I'm just classifying it to be zeros and ones. I'm just classifying it to be zeros and ones, which the zeros means they are non-hate content. One means they are hate content with an accuracy of 96%. With an accuracy of 96%. By analyzing this, what we will be able to do now, we can in an early stage itself, as soon as a comment is posted or beforehand itself, there we may give an option, or after posting we may give an option to analyze your comment, to analyze the content which you have posted, whether it is of hate or whether it is of not hate, so that there are we can beforehand we can control something. Let's say there is a problem going on, someone is commenting on that, and let us say some out before any outburst is happening, we can control it. By how we can control it? After identifying that, so identification is very important. After identifying this is a hate content, we may block it, remove it, or whatever. A reflex action can be done. So just a recap of what we have seen until now. We have seen a very slow step-by-step process in order for us to find a hate content identification in social media posts or in general. Okay, so we saw about what is hate content and why. So not only we can block that comment, remove that comment. Okay, there are several mental issues. There are several mental issues related with this. If people are they read some comment that is offensive, that is hate, and they take several other bad. Okay, this is a disclaimer. Okay, they take several other bad intentions. They go like even suicidal tendencies and all these things are occurs. Okay, fine, we need to control all. That is the aim we are coding for this. Then, and the max behind it, you can take any classification algorithm. What do I mean by classification algorithm? You will go for classification. Okay, my aim is to classify whether that particular comment is hate or not hate content. This is very similar to telling that a particular mail is spam or not spam. You'd have been heard this word, whether that particular whether that particular email is spam or not spam. Similar way, we need to tell whether this particular comment or whether that particular post is hate or not hate content or not hate content. Fine. So we can go with any classification model. Basically, I'm talking about a very beginner. We can go for any classification model starting from logistic regression, naive Bayes, okay, and then ASVM. Okay, all these things can be done. And when it comes to transformers which transform your textual data into numeric data, you can go with any one of them, and it depends upon your data also. And then fine, we will be classifying is very simple. When we need to go for classification is when we have discrete data and our aim is to classify. Okay, we can go for classification only when we have discrete kind of either numerical, either textual data. Discrete kind of numerical and textual data. I'm talking about the output column. Then yes, we spoke about this, how people are still so many people are using social media, and we have all the liberty and the freedom to post whatever we want, but we should not misuse that. There should be certain, we should have some courtesy to the fellow human being. In order to there should be some courtesy, right, and some manners to be followed when posting something and all those things. And your post or your comment should not triggers anyone's mind, trigger anyone's feelings. And then this is the problem statement and all those things. This is the problem statement. This was a flow, and you can use all these algorithms that you can ensemble. You can use it, as I mentioned, a single ensemble or a single algorithm or a kind ensemble model. All these things, fine. And count vectorizer TEDF vectorizer and all those things can be used. So again, on behalf of Manthan, thank you very much for this opportunity for providing for me to share my knowledge. And I wish all the participants are very all the best, those who are participating in Manthan. Yes, Sumit. Uh, Sumit, am I audible? Hello.